I am here with Jim Krueger, the awesome writer for everything cool in the universe. Welcome, Jim.
True, thank you.
All right, let's start with Marvel Earth X.
Yeah.
Now tell me about how you got involved with that.
You know, Earth X really started, it was post-Kingdom Come. Alex Ross had done this, you know, this giant, let's see the DC Universe 20, 30 years later, you know, Superman's old, all that kind of thing. And there was a magazine called Wizard Magazine, and so Wizard contacted Alex and said, why don't you do that, we want to do a special article where we show people how you would imagine the Marvel Universe in the future. And so, you know, Alex and I had been friends, we'd worked together, there were some comics I had written that he liked and some other little things I had written that he liked. And so he said, Jim, why don't you just write a speculative paragraph for each of these characters? And I wrote that, and as he read it and he looked through and he goes, well, now I need a reason why everyone would be mutated on Earth. And I came up with this the idea that used the Inhuman Terrigen Mists. And then I told him about this idea I had for Earth being, and you know, without spoiling Earth X, you know, the true origins of like what's the Watcher watching for, what's, you know, how do Celestials like populate the universe, what's the great balance that Galactus keeps, why are there superheroes on Earth, all this sort of thing. And like I was like, there's little, you know, I just kind of threw up.
Yeah,
on Alex, and then he was like, wow, this is a real project now. And then Marvel responded, even just based on the sketches and the writing and notebook, and the president at the time said, let's do it.
Awesome, awesome. And that led into Universe X, Paradise X, whole series.
It just kept on going. I think altogether maybe 80 issues long, if you get all the different specials.
Wow.
And
Buy them now.
You know, the trades are out there. The trades are out there.
All right, cool.
You know, but Earth X is the one that's really special. The rest is, you know, Godfather 2 and hopefully, you know, not Godfather 3.
No.
But I like them all. You know.
Well, the thing that you do really well is you take a character and you bring this origin and you bring a reality to it that a lot of writers don't do.
That's nice of you.
They'll take a character and they'll write a story and you'll go through the story and you'll be like, okay, well, this story's pretty good, but you never get to know who the superhero is. And I think that's something that you do really well. When you go through a book, you're like, wow, he's exploring what Superman thinks about this and who he is and what he's learned and more of his backstory. So I think that's something really interesting. When people read your books, they're like, oh, this origin and this backstory and who is this person? That's what people want to see more of. And I think people want to see more of a continuation of the character in the next book of, you know, well, we explored who he was in this book. Now, what caused him to become the superhero he is today?
Yeah, it's the cause stuff that's so important to me, because I feel like, you know, while I don't want to be like hindered by the past, the future, we take the past into it, and so that's for every character. Like every character's motivation is built in what brought them to that moment.
Now, you worked with Alex Ross also in Justice. If you read that, incredible book. All right. Tell me about that. How was DC jealous of the Marvel thing, or?
Well, it was one of those things in which DC, you know, they liked Earth X, they liked where it all went, and then we just started talking. We should try to figure out a way to do a giant pairing for DC. Like let's do something for DC, and I think Alex was upset, only a little, but he was upset that everyone talked about Kingdom Come all the time, and so he wanted to do another big DC project that would be not like mutations or extrapolations on the characters, but it would just be like the classic characters.
The classic characters of who
you know,
they
so
were.
he could just draw them and draw them and draw them, and so.
Now, who's your favorite in Justice? Who's your favorite character?
Oh, yeah, I had a couple, you know, and this happened in Earth X too. Like, there were sometimes characters that I just never really cared for, but then in the process of writing them,
then
I was like, oh, this is why people love them so much. Like, in Earth X, it was both Iron Man and the Hulk.
Okay.
Like, I bought the Hulk. I liked the Hulk, or I liked Iron Man, but I never had this, like, affection for them the way I had other characters. But then writing them did, and, you know, I think I had a lot of fun writing Captain Marvel Shazam.
I was going to say that
And,
because to me that's such an interesting character because he's funny and there's just so much of a story behind it, and then you've got all these other Marvels and crazy villains and things like that, you know?
You know, I liked writing Superman a lot. Alex really pushed me specifically to write Batman in a really special way. I really had a blast writing kind of the you know, the flirty repartee between Green Arrow and Black Canary in the scene where Clayface attacks them. That was really fun. And one of my favorite scenes, which is not a big fight scene, is I want to say it's maybe at the beginning of the 9th chapter of Justice. It's Batman and Superman outside the front of the Fortress of Solitude in the Arctic.
Right.
And Batman telling Superman about how smart he thought he was by telling everyone he had X-ray vision, and then Batman's like, who would ever commit any crime in Metropolis knowing you're there? And Batman's just like, you could see it all, and Batman's just like, you know, and people say I'm the smart one, you know, and that was fun, and you know, the humor and getting to do that with the characters was really fun.
All right, now let's talk about the Clockmaker.
Oh, the Clockmaker, you know, I'm glad you brought it up. That's one of those sad stories that I haven't gotten to finish, and it's one of those things in which, you know, I went through a divorce at the time, and everything just fell to pieces. And it's just one of those projects that's like, before I die, before I retire, before anything, I have to make that story known, because it's so good, and I haven't even in what I've written of it, even in what was published, the best is still to come.
All right, you heard it? Gotta look for that stuff. All right, now you've written for Dark Horse, Star Wars, Tales, Foot Soldiers. Let's talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I love film. I'm here in LA specifically to do film, even though I still do lots of graphic novels, and I love getting to say something about Star Wars, and I've gotten to write on Star Wars, Serenity, Buffy,
oh, that's awesome.
Micronauts, you know, if people remember the toys.
Oh, yeah.
I got to do a Matrix comic with Tim Sale, who's the first comic book artist I ever worked with, and I actually brought him into Marvel because Marvel didn't even know him at the beginning, and you know, I've gotten to work all those things. So what's really great is whenever you're given an opportunity to work in someone else's, you know, play in someone else's play box, you know, and to be like using their things and to not change them, but to show how much they mean to you and how much you love them.
Now, how often do you bring the artists in, like with Neil Edwards for the Superman?
Right, no, they brought Neil.
They brought Neil in. That worked so well. Let's talk
Neil
about that one.
was so good. Yeah, and this goes back to, you know, that causality, that origin thing. And this came out, you know, a couple months ago. It was Adventures of Superman, number 11. Yeah. And it's basically, you know, me looking at the Superman mythos and saying, you know, why did they never explain where was the Green Lantern who was supposed to protect Krypton?
Yeah,
you know,
that's a
Krypton
great question.
explodes, and no one was there that we know of. And so I tell the story about this kind of depressed, drunken, lost Green Lantern at the farthest side of the universe, finding out that someone from Krypton still survived.
Wow, that's
depressed,
great.
He seeks out Superman for one reason, to get Superman to kill him.
Yeah,
you know, because he wants an end to the guilt. He wants an end to the pain, and he's just like, Superman, please kill me. You know, all your people would be alive if it wasn't for me. And Superman's like, but I don't kill. And he ultimately starts fighting Superman to try to force him.
Except
to
in
kill
Man
him.
of Steel, he kills.
You know,
but that guy deserved it, all right. That's right. He's going to shoot little kids with his X-ray vision, so you had to break his neck. There's no choice. I'm sorry, you don't like it too bad.
Yeah. Wow, hardcore.
Yeah. Don't miss the Superhero Junkies Long Beach Comic-Con panel focusing on sci-fi. Ooh, it's everything mystical and sci-fi-ish. Don't miss it, September 27th, Long Beach Comic-Con, 1 p.m. next Saturday. You need to show up. It's worth it.